Hello and welcome to this edition of Motivation and Money, I should say. I'm Mark Terrell, and for those of you that watch this regularly will know that I do this with my mate Fanny Snaith, but she doesn't seem to have turned up today. I've no idea why. Well, I've got a sneaking suspicion why. We have this system where we have connection in our diaries, and if one of us can't make it, we just cancel it, and then the other one automatically gets notified. Well, I did that for a future show yesterday, and I'm thinking that she might have noticed that and decided that maybe it was this edition, and that's the confusion, and she's sort of taken it out of her diary. But actually, it was next week. So there we are. So anyway, I'm here. I'm Mark Terrell from the Motivated Business Club, and today we're talking about: are you in touch with your dark side? Let's hope Fanny might pick this up and join us. I hope she's okay. If not, I would be checking straight after to make sure. I've tried to get hold of her a few times. So are you in touch with the dark side? And this plays out, I know, both in our relationship to money and to our motivations. Because I've just I read a book recommended by Fanny, which I haven't got to hand, but it talks about we have a dark side with regards to our money, and I'm not going to even attempt to describe and tell you about what that is, but we'll try and get Fanny to talk about that at a later date. But today I want to talk about our dark side of motivation. And when we talk about dark side, it's really what it is. It's the thing that least motivates us, or our least important thing in the list of our priorities, can often be our Achilles heel. It sort of gets in our way. And there's also I do some work around behavioural styles, and also I'm aware, particularly myself, around my lowest, what they call energy, and that is again a key to opening up opportunities and being. I suppose it's about being outside your comfort zone, being a different way than you naturally are to get a different result, because we can only get a certain amount of results being our natural self. Sometimes we do have to move ourselves out of that natural state to get certain things done, because it's just the way things work. And especially in a leadership position, there is 4 types of behaviours, and we need to use all 4. And we can't get by just using one, and that's one of the key things within a leadership perspective. That if we only ever use one style, then we're never going to be as effective as we need to be. And I'm sure anybody can resonate with that that's been in the leadership or isn't in the leadership, that you need to be adaptive to different situations. Sometimes you need to be sort of caring and supportive. Other times you need to be a bit more directive and be more clear and explicit as to what you want to happen, because there's certain situations that come up that demands that, and vice versa. So that's behavioural style. But with regards to motivation, I'm going to share the motivations, the 9 motivations for work, and explain the sort of dark sides that they could probably bring up, or potential, and also where they sort of work with other motivators, which again can either cause a conflict or sometimes can feel as if they're almost like boosting the most important motivator, because that lowest motivator is almost the opposite to the most important driver. So let's share that with you. So let's share my iPad with you, and hope it comes up okay. Which it's disappeared, and that's just moved on to another screen, which I don't want. There we are. That's what we need. So looks quite sad there. Guess one. That's where Fanny should be. But here's the motivational map model, and so what I'm going to do is just take that off, because it looks a bit sad, doesn't it? Put that away. So here's the model. So let's think about what this means when I talk about the dark side. So with regards to motivations, the idea is to make sure that you're aware of the key drivers that are driving you, and these are 9 different motivators. And a motivational map puts them in your order, so from the most important down to the least important. So in this instance, we're going to look at what happens when they're the least important motivator. So that dark side thing, the thing that you pay least attention to, preventing it from becoming an issue and a problem. So I'm going to start with my lowest motivator, and that's this one here, the director. It's always been my lowest motivator, and still continues to be. So the thing that I least want to do, or in a position to do on a regular basis, is to be in a position of power and influence. So that's the thing I least want to do. So I need to avoid making that I don't spend most of my time doing that. That's the first thing to think about. But also I got to remember that this will allow me to do things. If I embrace that motivator, then certain things might happen. So in this instance, if I took responsibility and became someone who was in charge, which is something that I particularly, I don't particularly like being in that position, that might open up opportunities for me to link that to better fulfilling my top motivators. My top motivators are the searcher, the creator, and the expert. So if I don't want to be in charge, that's one thing, and I can be in charge. I have the skills to be in charge, but what I've just got to make sure that I don't spend most of my time there. But if I do take that opportunity to take responsibility and be in charge sometimes, that could well open up opportunities for me. I'm just going to change so you can probably see me better if I make myself a bit bigger. That's better, isn't it? You can see me better now. So that would allow me to be more effective, possibly, if I took responsibility. I can't always not be in the position of influence and taking responsibility. I can't avoid that all the time. So it's when I step into that, then that could well give me more opportunities to be more creative, make more of a difference, and step in that role of being an expert. And so that's a starter on my own personal motivators. Another one that comes up quite often, particularly with people that are, let's say, coaches. So coaches are mainly driven by searcher. That's what I've noticed with the clients that I've worked with. They're driven by making a difference, and which is great. You'd expect them to be in that position. They're doing something that they feel that is important and worthwhile, and making a difference is key to that. But what I often find is that one of their lowest, if not the lowest, it's in their bottom two most often, is one of them is builder. So the builder is sort of opposite to making a difference. It's someone that's builder driven would find a way to make money, whatever the reason. So if you think about that in context with regards to a searcher, the searcher wants to do something that's purposeful and meaningful. The thing they least want to do is something that's just for the money. That's sort of like opposites, and can become a problem. And just having that conversation and the motivational map allows that conversation to happen with regards to, well, what are you doing with regards to making sure that your business, which essentially you're trying to create here, is going to be financially viable? Are you doing enough? Or are you spending too much time on the making a difference bit, giving away maybe too much of your time for free, all those things that make you feel good because you're making a difference, but actually aren't putting money in your bank account, which essentially you need. And if you don't do it often enough, then you will not be able to continue in business. So that's one that comes up quite often for coaches. Another one is the star. So the star being lowest often means that they're not promoting themselves. So star is about getting recognised and noticed, and the social esteem around that. So if that's your lowest, the thing that you least want to do, then you probably aren't promoting yourself. You're not telling people about what you do enough. And I know this to be the fact because I know people that are coaches that I've come across that have star in their top three, and they are particularly successful for the obvious reason is that they are putting their stuff out there. They're getting noticed, and because of that, people are seeing what they offer, and they're getting clients from it. So again, if this is the thing that you least want, is promoting yourself and putting yourself out there, then again that could be something that's really holding you back, and say linking to that sort of dark side thing. It's not going to help you with your business if you're not promoting yourself. So that's a few things that I see quite often with regards to our dark side. Obviously, all these have got a dark side to them. So when we say dark side, it's about what might be holding us back if it's our lowest. So let's think about someone who has the lowest creator. So if the thing you least want is change and innovation, then you might be avoiding new things, like not using new technology when you need to, and trying to get by, for instance, like using spreadsheets when there's something else that's much better for your accounts or something like that. So that could be a problem. And if we combine that with, this is what we call polarity reinforcement. If these two are top and bottom of your motivational map, so most important being defender and the least important being creator, then in that case you are really, really anti change and new things and innovation, because the thing you want most is stability, predictability. So this can ultimately become your dark side, in that you are avoiding anything new. You see no point in anything new, because it's almost that adage as, don't fix what isn't broken. But if you always have that mentality, then you'll never put yourself out there, find new ways of doing things, and then you might get left behind. Especially in business, we know business doesn't stand still for very long, so we need to make sure that we're innovating, bringing new ideas in, because we know if we have a good idea, somebody else will come and copy us, and and the more people are doing what we're doing, the less we can charge for what we do, because it's a competitive environment out there, and people can compare like for like. And that's why it's important to have something that is really differentiates yourself, and you work with in a particular way with a particular client, so you can't be replicated. So there's another example. Let's think about something else that can possibly come up. So someone that has friend as their lowest. So the thing that they least want, and this one actually sometimes gets an adverse reaction when it comes out as lowest, in that what it's indicating is what could indicate is that they are an unfriendly person, but it's not. What it's saying is that you are not coming to work for fulfilling relationships. That's not something you come to work for, and that's not saying that you're unfriendly. It just means it's not something you come to work for. So if the thing that you least come to work for is belonging, and then combine that with the thing that what's most important to you, maybe the spirit, so freedom, autonomy. That's another case where we have like a polarity, a reinforcement of the top motivator by the lowest motivator. The lowest being, I want to belong, so I don't. So if it's the least important, it's sort of saying, well, I don't really care about belonging. And then your top motivator being, I want to be free and autonomous. You can see how they are completely opposite directions, and because they're at different ends of your map, one being the most important, the other being the least important, it reinforces that drive for freedom, drive to be autonomous, and that can often become a problem, in that you wanting to grow, and we know how businesses these days are very much dependent on collaboration with others. Most people who say that they work on their own, in most cases, I'm pretty sure all cases, in some way or other, they don't work on their own, they work with others. They have other people that support them in some way to do things that they don't particularly want to do or not very good at. And that's important to understand, that we all need to collaborate with others. So, and being interdependent with others as well is really important if we're going to really get to where we want to go to with regards to a team. A team is more likely to get you faster to where you need to go, as opposed to getting somewhere on your own, which might take longer. So that is as far as I probably need to go with this. You can see the idea. If you're regards to motivations and your dark side, understanding the thing that you least want can often open up some really good conversations about what you need to do more of, and make sure that you are not allowing those things that you least want to do to hold you back. And ultimately, your business, it may become dependent on it if you don't, or it might be the thing that holds you back and prevents you from having the success that you really want. So I hope that was useful. I will put the normal end of show screen up where you'll see how to contact with me and Fanny. I'm going to go off and try and find out what happened to Fanny. I'm guessing she thought that I cancelled this session, but hopefully that is all it is and nothing else. And until the next episode of Motivational and Money, I bid you farewell. Have a great day and see you next time.